Hello, and welcome to our first long-distance learning day. It's great to see you all, and I'd like to start off with something that's a little curious. Let's try something else. So if I pull on those, the other one goes down. So what's going on here? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. This is a basic mechanism called a linkage. Let me just separate this. A linkage is basically just a solid beam that's been connected with these pivot points. And with these pivot points, you have two different types. One type, like this, is a floating pivot. It's only connected to the pieces that are moving together. This one, right here, never moves because it's connected to the box. By connecting these solid beams with floating pivot points and fixed pivot points, we're able to achieve motion. Now, what I want to show you are some basic mechanisms, some basic linkages that are used very commonly in products. I just need to shrink my face. There we go. And here I've got a few basic examples. As a background, a linkage turns solid beams into basically levers. The first type of linkage that we're going into is like a class 1 lever. That's like a seesaw. And here, by pulling on one of the beams, you can see with my mouse, it's going to cause the opposite one, the one that's opposite from the fixed pivot point, to go the opposite way. So shifting down this page, which I'll link in Classroom, is a fixed pivot. You have two fixed pivot points on these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 linkages, and you get parallel motion between your two bottom linkages and an opposite motion in this top linkage. Here it's a parallel motion linkage. Large rod at the top moves the two small rods. Great. Crank and slider. Now, this is if you want something to follow a pathway, because like automatons, these linkages can utilize support to get the motion you want. So, rods move forward, backwards, in a slider, fixed pivot, anchors. Okay, great. Bell crank. This is the last one. So, this linkage allows you to change the direction of motion when you have a fixed pivot point in the corner, and then you have two floating pivots between the main base and your additional pieces. What I want you to do today, I want you to basically do this. You are going to find an example of linkages in a product in your home. You're going to be looking for any product that has motion involved. It should have pivot points. This is what you call a scissor arm. Well, I guess it's not a scissor arm. That's a different specific type of linkage. This holds a microphone in place. And you'll see it's got all these nuts and screws. And these allow you to get motion and control where the pieces go. As I extend the arm, the pieces come together. And as I bring it down, these two bars separate from each other. This is actually a classic 4-bar linkage, a type that you could find used in a bunch of ways. Anyway, your assignment is to go around your house, and I want you to find one object that uses linkages, things with a fixed pivot point and floating pivot points, to achieve some sort of motion. Happy hunting!